quiet modern kitchen where fire meets flesh, yet beside it, an ancient sentinel waits. This fragrant little needle holds a dark legacy, a story woven not of culinary delight, but of sheer terror. Gaze deeply into its rugged green skin, past the familiar scent and comforting warmth, into a forgotten abyss. Time collapses backward into the Mediterranean winds. Before it was tamed by mankind, it belonged only to the sea. Behold the harsh limestone cliffs, born from salt and relentless sun, a wild creation of unforgiving nature, standing defiant. They called it Rosemary, the dew of the sea. A fragile name for something so fierce, so incredibly unyielding. Punished by violent oceanic gales, the plant learned to defend itself fiercely, developing a powerful botanical armor. Tiny blue blossoms masking a potent chemical weapon. Deep inside these slender leaves, a heavy resin patiently accumulates. It drinks the brutal summer heat, transforming scorching sunlight into fragrant oils, a silent alchemy of pure survival against all odds. These volatile compounds are a fierce warning to nature, a strong shield against predators, and the biting drought. Early civilizations soon discovered this pungent armor. They scaled the treacherous rocks, seeking the potent magic hidden inside the coastal dew. One simple crush of the rugged leaves, releasing an overpowering scent that commands absolute respect. From these isolated, windswept shores, the resilient herb began its long journey into the heart of human history, leaving the sunlit ocean behind. This humble, wild bush would soon face a darkness unlike anything it had ever known. A terrifying shadow was creeping across the continent, bringing a sickening stench of death that would change everything forever. The turbulent sea crashes fiercely against the ancient shores, a brutal environment where only the strong truly survive the relentless salt. Clinging tenaciously to the cracked limestone, roots digging deep into the barren earth, searching desperately for scattered drops of water. A blinding sun dominates the endless sky, scorching the fragile coastal vegetation without mercy, leaving behind a parched and silent wasteland. Yet the wild rosemary stands completely unbothered, its slender needles pointing sharply toward heaven, defying the oppressive and suffocating summer heat. Furious coastal gales sweep across the rocky plains, bending trees but never breaking this resilient and stubbornly anchored little wild shrub. Every brutal gust of the salty wind forces the plant to build thicker armor, layering its skin with protective oils. As twilight descends upon the ancient coastal cliffs, a sudden chill completely overtakes the landscape, wrapping the world in a quiet frost. The sea exhales a heavy midnight mist, leaving tiny drops of cold, watery dew upon the dark and thirsty green needles. Morning light gently breaks across the eastern horizon, illuminating a vast and silent aromatic kingdom, where this humble herb reigns supreme. It patiently drinks the golden morning light, converting raw energy into a potent chemistry, hidden deep within its cellular structure. For centuries it thrived in perfect, silent isolation, far away from the chaotic human world, a master of its own harsh domain. The powdery, dry earth offers absolutely no comfort, demanding extreme resilience from every living root, testing the limits of biological endurance. But the fragrance drifting on the ocean breeze finally lured curious ancient travelers onto land, forever altering the destiny of this plant. A coarse hand brushes against the fragile bush, unlocking a remarkably sharp and woody scent, an unforgettable aroma of pure, wild survival. They gather the sacred branches with deep reverence, completely unaware of the dark, looming future, where this scent will battle human extinction. The relentless midsummer sun bakes the earth, forcing the ancient rosemary plant to undergo a truly miraculous botanical transformation. Microscopic pores violently burst open under pressure, releasing thick and highly volatile aromatic resins. To combat the severe dehydration, entire coastlines shimmer in the heavy heat, breathing out an invisible cloud of defense, an invisible fragrant barrier wall. This golden liquid hardens like sticky armor, sealing moisture tightly within the slender leaves, protecting the fragile life inside. Recognizing this powerful and unique natural defense, ancient merchants loaded their heavy wooden ships, seeking fortune across the sea. Cured perfectly by the harsh, salty winds, the dried needles sleep in rough canvas, waiting to awaken their power. Trade routes stretched far across the continent, carrying these wild Mediterranean secrets ever northward, toward a dark, medieval world. Traded passionately for silver and precious silk, the wild shrub became a highly coveted and extremely valuable medicinal treasure. But the thriving cities were dangerously overcrowded, brewing a deadly and deeply foul pestilence in the filthy cobblestone streets. The beautiful vibrant green fades into shadows as a deeply terrifying and unseen horror begins to swallow the light. A foul darkness crept through the alleys, silencing the once joyful and bustling markets, leaving only fear and despair. Panicking hands ruthlessly crushed the dried stems, praying desperately that the strong, piercing aroma could somehow purify the air. The concept of foul miasma deeply terrified every single living soul across the continent, sparking a desperate botanical warfare. Tiny embers slowly devour the dried leaves, releasing thick plumes of bitter white smoke, a fragile shield against death. The Great Black Death had finally arrived, transforming the humble coastal dew of Rosemary into a desperate magical talisman. The haunting leather beak emerges from the darkness, stuffed with the dried green needles, a desperate barrier against the disease. Silent, terrifying figures roam the plagued medieval streets, casting long, dark shadows over the cobblestones, as terrified citizens quickly hide away. With every labored breath inside the leather mask, the precious essential oils slowly break apart, releasing a powerful protective herbal scent. Desperate families clutch the fragrant branches like weapons, praying to the heavens for divine mercy, while the foul, black fog thickens. Small linen pouches are woven with trembling fingers, carrying the sacred coastal dew inside them, resting silently against their cold chests. Great fires ignite across the infected city squares, burning massive piles of the wild shrub, attempting to cleanse the rotten air. The tough green needles violently curl and blister, unleashing their trapped oceanic magic into ash, creating a heavy cloud of salvation. Thick, fragrant smoke rolls through the silent graveyards, masking the terrifying stench of absolute ruin, offering a small sliver of comfort. Exhausted medieval apothecaries relentlessly grind the sacred leaves, seeking a potent cure for the incurable, inside an ancient, heavy stone mortar. The masked physician leans over the dying patient, holding a single branch of green rosemary, trusting it more than his science. A single drop of herbal oil gently falls, washing over the deeply infected pale skin, a fragile blessing from the sea. Entire villages slowly fall into complete, deafening silence, leaving behind only the strong medicinal scent, haunting the empty and broken homes. An abandoned protective pouch lies in the mud, slowly rotting under the freezing autumn rain, its magical promise completely shattered now. The devastating plague eventually retreated from the continent, leaving millions of heartbroken survivors wandering aimlessly, searching for a way to heal. Yet the resilient coastal shrub quietly endured everything, watching the fragile human empires violently crumble, holding their darkest memories within it. The dark clouds finally break over Europe, revealing a quiet and deeply scarred world, attempting to breathe once again. A single fragile green sprig rests silently upon the freshly turned cold, damp earth, honoring the countless fallen souls. Grieving families slowly gather in the graveyards, carrying heavy bundles of the wild herb to remember their tragic loss. A trembling hand gently drops the leaves into the dark and bottomless, empty grave. A final, deeply tragic farewell. The surviving monarchs declare this humble plant a sacred emblem of memory and sorrow, worn proudly across the kingdom. Golden royal threads weave the familiar shape onto the heavy velvet of noble garments, securing its elevated cultural status. Grand botanical gardens are built by kings, exclusively to cultivate this precious healing magic, ensuring it never fades away. Royal gardeners carefully prune the thick bushes, harvesting the fragrant needles with extreme precision, preserving the dark historical legacy. Soon, the famous playwrights of the era immortalized the resilient herb in classic literature, cementing its profound emotional meaning. A heavy iron pen drips dark ink writing words of love and painful remembrance beside a pressed, dry sprig. Brilliant scholars meticulously document its medicinal power, filling the vast shelves of ancient libraries with thick, leather-bound books. The fragrant, dry needles sit perfectly preserved, caught between the thick, yellowed parchment pages, holding secrets of the past. Great sailing empires eventually rise and expand, carrying the seeds of the Mediterranean shrub to entirely new, distant continents. A small wooden chest holds the treasure, crossing the violent and unpredictable dark ocean toward a vast, untamed wilderness. The ancient dew of the sea arrives, planting its deep roots into foreign soils, conquering the modern global world. The fragile seeds adapt to the new earth, creating an expansive green empire across the vast, untamed continent. Colonial hearths burn warmly in the harsh winters, bringing the sharp, familiar scent into a harsh, foreign land. The ancient plague medicine transforms into culinary magic, flavoring wild, roasted game meats over the crackling, open fire. Sharp iron knives finely chop the dark needles, releasing the exact same oils that once fought the plague. Generations pass and the terrifying medieval nightmares fade, leaving only a delicious spice in the modern family kitchen. But the ancient memory of the sea remains, hidden deeply within its chemistry, waiting to be scientifically understood. Modern science gazes through the powerful glass lens, unlocking the complex botanical secrets of this legendary wild herb. Chemical structures reveal pure, mind-altering essential compounds, proving the brilliant ancient scholars were completely right all along. The strong aroma physically stimulates the human brain, locking fragile memories into place, defying the cruel passage of time. It protects the fragile neurons from slow decay, acting as a powerful invisible shield against the darkness of forgetting. Vast commercial farms harvest millions of green bushes, feeding a completely oblivious world that forgot its dark origins. Massive steel machines aggressively crush the delicate leaves, extracting the precious golden oils for the global modern market. The tiny amber droplets fall into glass bottles, carrying the ancient Mediterranean soul into the busy modern era. Yet every single sprig still remembers the plague, holding the deep historical trauma beneath its beautiful green skin. It stands proudly in the sunlit garden today, a silent botanical war veteran, watching over our fragile lives. The gentle breeze whispers through the garden, carrying the ancient memories into the house, where the fire burns warmly. A familiar hand reaches out to harvest, plucking the resilient green needles with care, honoring the enduring wild survivor. We bring the sacred branch indoors today, unaware of the monumental human tragedies survived by this tiny green plant. The heavy wooden cutting board waits patiently, bathed in the warm golden afternoon light, ready for the culinary ritual. Resting beside a rich cut of meat, the ocean dew prepares for the fire, fulfilling its ancient culinary destiny. Sharp iron gently crushes the sturdy leaves, awakening the potent essential oils sleeping inside, a familiar and sharp aroma. Invisible, aromatic clouds rise from the wood, filling the modern kitchen with ancient magic, an invisible shield of memory. The hot iron pan begins to smoke, demanding the sharp flavor of the wild to conquer the heavy richness. Sizzling fat dances violently in the heat, completely absorbing the sharp and woody essence of the ancient coastal shrub. Tiny green needles bathe in the gold, transforming raw fire into pure culinary perfection, an elegant and timeless alchemy. The intense heat blisters the rough skin, mimicking the great plague fires of old, but now bringing only joy. The dark crust forms on the surface, sealing the fragrant moisture deep within it. A perfect mastery of fire. Aromatic smoke curls gracefully toward the ceiling, carrying the heavy essence of the Mediterranean into our safe modern sanctuary. This beautiful fragrance is not just flavor. It is a deep echo of survival, resonating through centuries of time. From the unforgiving ancient coastal limestone cliffs, straight to the warm, modern dining table, the journey is finally complete. The fork cuts into the perfectly cooked meat, releasing a final burst of savory steam, an ancient tribute on a modern plate. We raise the silver utensil to our lips, tasting the incredible journey of human survival, hidden within a single bite. The robust flavor instantly floods the human senses, waking up deep and silent genetic memories of a long-forgotten time. It tastes of the wild, salty ocean breeze, combined with the warmth of the hearth, a perfect harmony of extremes. Beneath the rich and heavy, savory roasted fat lies a sharp and resilient ancient warrior, protecting us from the dark. To think this humble little green culinary herb once stood fearlessly against the Black Death, saving countless fragile human lives. The ghosts of the medieval plague doctors fade, replaced by the warm laughter of family, gathered safely around the table. We chew the meat and swallow the history, taking the strength of the wild cliffs deep into our own bodies. A quiet moment of pure gratitude washes over me, thanking the ancient earth for its gifts and the sea for its dew. The empty plate reflects the soft candlelight above, leaving behind only a tiny green stem, a final and silent testament. Do not throw this brittle dark branch away without pausing to remember its monumental sacrifice across the brutal human centuries. It carries the weight of 1,000,000 souls who breathed its scent as their last before returning to the soil. The dew of the sea remains forever loyal, a beautiful botanical guardian of our history, disguised as a simple spice. As the evening fire slowly burns down entirely, the lingering aroma softly whispers a promise to always remember the past. Rosemary is never truly just about the flavor. It is the immortal scent of memory, living forever in our hearts.